All right, welcome back to Life Fit with DVD. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to talk about 10 signs that your trauma has hacked your operating system and 10 more solutions that can help you reboot it. So, let's get into it here. This kind of covers a lot of what I've been talking about the past several weeks of just the need to keep getting focused on the present moment so that you can hack your operating system and take it back from the distractions of this world. So, some signs that, this might be some trauma that is distracting your mind, right? It's the same script, it's a different day. You go into work, you have the same argument with your coworkers, your boss, maybe your spouse, siblings. Um, you know, it's doesn't have to be the same thing, same topic, but it's still the same sort of pattern and imprinting of just constant sort of bickering where is it even about anything that is that important? Why do you think this continues to happen, right? I mean, this is a pattern. So maybe this is a trauma pattern that you keep replaying out. Two, emotional whiplash, right? Are you calm in 1 minute and then somebody says something and next the next second you're going 0 to 60 and you have no idea what just happened. And next thing you know, you're in a yelling match with somebody, right? This is another sign that you got some trauma you need to sort out. Three, memory loops, right? The brain might, when you go unconscious, keep replaying the same situation that you had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and just kind of ruminating on it when it doesn't even affect you in the current moment. It's just something that plays in your mind like it's trying to sort it out, but it can't seem to find any meaning from it. Right? There's another sign. Four, predictable defensive lines, right? You say things where, oh, I always get rejected, or they never choose me for this. Um, you know, and you're thinking these things before you even ask or take any sort of action in, the world to really manifest what you want. I mean, have you even tried to ask them before you're defeating yourself? Five, your body is just in a stalemate, right? Where you get shoulder pain the same night at the same time, or your stomach is in knots before you're about to send an email for no reason, just kind of fearing the worst, and you know, there's just a response there to things that should be simple. Making a phone call, to schedule a doctor's appointment or something very just benign that really causes your body to lock up. Six, identity amnesia, right? This can be the fact of if somebody asks you, oh, what are your strengths and weaknesses? What is the first thing that you think of? Are you thinking of your weaknesses? Or are you actually thinking of your strengths? Because if you can really identify a lot of your weaknesses or what you think you're not good at first and foremost, that might be another sign that you get some trauma to work out. Seven, micro triggers, so tone of voice, loud noises, text delays, door slams, just kind of random things that send you in your mood into a total other space. This could be another sign. Eight, the future forecast and equals past repetition. So this is assuming the worst case scenario in every outcome and never going back and revisiting this model that you have created unconsciously for yourself. Just assuming that because a certain situation worked out, that anything similar to that will also not work out. 9, addiction to the rescue and coping mechanisms. This is going on your phone, scrolling, getting lost in it, going unconscious, sugar, gambling, porn, any sorts of things that cause that dopamine spike to make you just feel something. And then 0 agency statements like, this is just who I am. This is, you think it's becoming accepting of yourself with where you're at in the current moment, but it's really a self-defeating belief that this is just who you are. And that you don't have the ability to change. That reinforces that negativity that is, stemming from some sort of trauma that you've had in the past. And, ultimately something needs to get worked out, needs to be changed. So, how can you reboot yourself here? Because, if you're listening to this, if you're here, right, we all have things that we can work on. It might seem hard to overcome, but, it starts with just little steps, right? Acknowledging that that you do these things, that, you might have some tendency to do these things, right? If you're being aware with yourself and honest with yourself, having internal integrity, well, here are some steps that can help you try to reset. So, a code audit, right? So, just for 2 minutes tonight, just write one of those things down above that you do, right? Above that I had just previously talked about. Write down, what sets you off. Are you doing one of these habits, one of these patterns? And, if it's more than 5 of them, right, there could be something very serious going on here. But write them down, get it onto paper or, a journal or something like that. And just acknowledge that, hey, all right, this is something I do and it might not be the healthiest behavior for me. Origin retrace. So you can ask yourself, and as I've talked about in a past video, whose voice is this? Is this my voice that's talking to me? Or is this somebody else from the past that is in my head, living rent-free, and is not doing anything to help me? It's a voice that's not being encouraging, not being beneficial to your growth and your goals. So ask who that is. Is it a parent? Is it a boss? Is it a childhood friend? Can be easily people that you think that we're looking out for you in your best interest, but maybe if you can identify whose voice is that, who does that sound like that you have heard before, right? If you can identify who that is, you might realize that the things that people are saying to you that you might think is in your best interest might not be. So 3, reality check. So write just some facts about the reality of your situation and where you're actually at, and this can be a gratitude sort of thing, being happy for what you already have, that you already love, but maybe you don't even think about. You just take it for granted a lot. What are the 3 biggest things that are in your reality right now that you love so much that you can't imagine not having? Write those down and then think about how you got to them, right? Because you got to them in some way. So if you have these beliefs that are putting you down, well, you already have some of these things. So how did you get to these things that you already like, right? This will help take your mind out of that trauma response. A nervous system reset. So just take some time, right? It can just be 90 seconds to do some deep breathing. Breathe in, right? You can hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold that for 4 seconds, breathe back in for 4 seconds, and then just repeat it, right? You can also just get into your body, right? Just go do some burpees, do some push ups, do pull ups, anything that can, jumping jacks. Just get yourself back into your physical body where it starts working your lungs and takes you out of your head, because it will. If you do enough exercise, it will take you out of your head. Five, identity tagline. So write some sentence that how you see yourself, what you want to become, and you don't even have to have achieved it yet or anything like that, but just get into the habit of writing down what it is you want to be, who it is you want to become, and just act like you already have it. Just act like you're already there, and you don't even have. You can completely acknowledge that. Yeah, I haven't achieved this thing, but just by the fact that you write it down, and then if you see it or write it down every day, right, your mind will start focusing on it more unconsciously. It will be a benchmark, some sort of marker that disrupts any of the negative patterns that you already have, and creates that sort of reboot that you need. Six, environmental boundaries. So delete or mute one trigger input that causes you to go unconscious and have all this negativity. You know, is that scrolling on social media? Is that going and playing a video game, or gambling, or just as I talked about yesterday, just going and eating, a cookie, but I'm thinking a pint of ice cream or something like that. That then makes you feel worse, right? Compounds the potential negativity. Now, you can do that, and if you feel good about that and you think you earned it, that's great. That's perfectly fine. But if you feel not great after doing that thing, right, you have to look at it and say, is this helping me? Is this the person I want to become? Seven, an anchor ritual. So this every morning, you can say the same sentence. It can be that same identity tagline that of who you want to become, who you're going to be today, and you can do some sort of you know plunge your face in like a cold water sink filled or cold filled sink. That can help shock the system into action around that tagline. Eight, progress tracker. Maybe every week you can rate out loud or in a journal, or you can talk to somebody about how your week went. Did you accomplish the things you want? You know, did you fall back into patterns that you don't want to repeat? Um, you know, Being able to express these things makes them tangible, puts them into the world so that, right, you become more aware of them. Because on some level, you might not be aware of them, even though you're talking about them. Or vice versa, right? We have to get some of that dialogue out of us to be able to observe it and be aware of it. Nine, community witness. So this can be one person that you are, telling about this tagline that can kind of help be your accountability buddy to, help you just achieve these goals. And obviously, it should be somebody that you trust. obviously if somebody's going to undermine you and thinks that, I don't know why you're doing this, or questioning what you're doing, or just creating that doubt, find somebody different, right? Find somebody that will say, yeah, did you do that thing? That's awesome, right? It's going to build you up and support, what it is that you want to be. And then 10, right, a grace clause. If you do mess up, if you do repeat the same negativity or bad habits, you can repeat that audit right at the beginning, where at the end of the day, you write down what that trauma response that you had was, and just list it, right? And you can even say underneath it, right, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow, or I'm thankful for spotting this, that I took the initiative, and that I'm writing this down, and that you spotted that this kind of trauma loop that you're in, and you write what you're going to do tomorrow, and you just let it go. And even if it happens repeatedly, right, it's going to just create this pattern within the system where you do keep providing data to your audit. And at some point you might realize, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself if this is not who you want to be, right? This is a process that can take potential years, but ultimately it starts with becoming aware, being intentional with your thoughts and your behavior and what you're putting your attention on. So that concludes the list of the the ways that this trauma to your operating system can occur, and 10 steps to potentially reboot it. So if you'd like to hear more about this, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you do to reboot yourself if you have some of these similar issues. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And until next time, see ya.